Actor Ben Stein took to social media to lament the removal of Aunt Jemima from his syrup bottle. Now, according to Ben Stein, he misses the good old days when a large African American woman was on his syrup bottle. However, he was upset that the racism of America's corporate culture decided to make it with a white person on it, or maybe no person at all. Now, what Ben Stein is talking about is the removal of the Aunt Jemima woman off of the front of Aunt Jemima packaging, such as Aunt Jemima syrup, Aunt Jemima pancake mix, Aunt Jemima waffles, and Aunt Jemima flour. Now, this black woman on the Aunt Jemima packaging was changed to a black woman with a perm back in 1984. However, the icon has been associated with anti-black racism because the icon is based on the mammy caricature that comes all the way back to slavery. Now, the roots of this mammy caricature were designed to degrade the image of black women, and it was designed to present a black woman as being less attractive than white women, and it was also designed to present an image of a obese black woman who was only role in life was to go out here and serve white supremacy by taking care of the white man and his children and sacrificing herself and the needs of her children to ensure that white men and white women and their children would get their needs met. And this caricature is one of the icons of anti-black racism because, again, it was designed to degrade the black female image by making her appear to be less attractive than white women and to put the black woman in a subservient position beneath the white woman. So this image was basically, again, one of the most anti-black racist images out there. And what was really troubling about it was this image was commercialized to socially engineer being a mammy as a social norm. And over the years, it has been used by the Aunt Jemima Pancake Company, and it had many popular black actresses who portrayed the role of Aunt Jemima, including Louise Beavers, and was also inspired for the entire story of the movie Imitation of Life. So this image has a major part in American culture, and it's one that many white racists like to see because the whole idea of seeing a black woman in a subservient position to white supremacy makes men like Ben Stein feel comfortable. And the reason why it makes them feel comfortable is because these white supremacists can feel secure in their smooth world where they don't have to worry about a mammy challenging them, a mammy going out here and calling them out on their anti-black racism, and a mammy going out here and standing up to them. Moreover, they won't have to worry about many black men standing up to her because the mammy oftentimes acts as the enforcer in white supremacy to silence any sort of resistance as related to black men organizing to stand up against white supremacy. And the mammy also works as an enforcer to eliminate black beauty because the mammy wants to be the center of attention, so she oftentimes castigates and verbally abuses slim, attractive black women. So the mammy has a major job in preserving white supremacy, and that's what Ben Stein is basically lamenting. He's lamenting the fact that this image of white supremacist black power through a black enforcer is no longer on the packaging of Aunt Jemima products, and it's not there to culturally condition another generation of young ladies to see themselves as enforcers of white supremacy. Now, Ben Stein wants to go on and say that, the inherent racism of America's corporate culture led it to the PepsiCo and Quaker Oats to go out here and remove Aunt Jemima from the packaging, but that's not the case at all. No, it wasn't the inherent racism, it was the fear of the reprisal from many who had gone out and stood up for the murder of George Floyd that led to many of these corporations to start to quake in their boots. And they started to quake in their boots because they feared that these people who were already upset over the murder of George Floyd may start to turn against their business. And a lot of these companies know that a lot of their money comes from the black dollar, which has incredible economic power because foundational black Americans have $3.3 trillion in spending power in cash and credit. And what PepsiCo and Quaker Oats didn't want to do was alienate that large customer base of black consumers. And because they didn't want to alienate that customer base of black consumers, what they did was participate in an empty symbolic gesture by removing Aunt Jemima from the packaging and renaming it Pearl Milling Company. They did this because they wanted to preserve their customer base, and they wanted to keep that black customer base from turning on them after seeing the uprisings that took place in 2020 after the murder of George Floyd. And because they feared the demise of their business, this is why many of these companies went out here, like Quaker Oats and PepsiCo, went out here and decided to go out here and rename the product because they wanted to keep those black dollars coming into their coffers, because they know that a large part of their survival has to do with the black dollar. And because they didn't want to lose the black dollar, they wound up renaming the product. But Ben Stein, this is the good old days when a large black woman was on his syrup bottle, because in those days when a large black woman was on his syrup bottle, the darkies knew their place, and he could go out here and feel comfortable about being able to go out here and be able to eat his pancakes, because he wouldn't have to worry about any black people coming out here to call him out on his anti-black racism like I'm doing right now. Because only a racist misses the good old days when there was a mammy caricature, a racist image on packaging, because those images are racist and degrading to black people. But as I see it, removing that image was just, again, an empty symbolic gesture. It didn't really do much at all, because at the end of the day, how many black people are working at PepsiCo? How many black people are working at Quaker? This was a critical question I asked way back in 2020. And until we get some black folks working at these companies and running some business, or black people going over to see products like maybe Master P's product line, nothing is going to change, because that you got these racists, they're going to hold on to these old caricatures because they know that they're losing their position of power in this society. And because they are losing their power, they want to hold on to their relics of the past, because they fear a future where there are black people in positions of power, black people who are controlling images, black people are controlling media. And that's what Ben Stein is afraid of. He's afraid of the changes that are coming. And one of the things that could change is nobody's going to be buying Pearl Milling Company or Aunt Jemima. I imagine a day when a guy like Master P, if he were able to get himself to the next level, he would be creating black-owned products that are the same as Aunt Jemima. Because when you have a guy like Master P, who's out here making pancake mix, I mean, that really shows us we don't need to go out here and support Pearl Milling Company, formerly known as Aunt Jemima, a company that had a black caricature on its products. And then you're going to have the same executives with a different name and participating in the same old white supremacy that is supported by people like Ben Stein. Again, people who are more comfortable with anti-black racism and are showing their true colors as the racist as they are, because they fear that things are changing, and as things are changing, they're afraid of losing the economic and political power that they've had for many years. And as they sit there afraid of losing their power, what's happening is these guys are getting more upset, like Scott Adams, and as they get upset, they're afraid of seeing black people with power, black people controlling our dollars, black people controlling our media, and black people controlling the narrative as related to the direction of the black community. Because that's the thing that scares old racists like Ben Stein, is the fact that black people are taking more and more control over our image. Black people are taking control of our dollars, and black people are taking charge and control over our economy. And by going out here and supporting a brother like a Master P, who's out here making his own products, we change the whole direction of our economy. Because when we put black dollars in the hands of a black business owner, what that does is it takes power away from white supremacists like a Ben Stein, who are sitting up here crying because they are upset about their mascot being taken off their package, which they make money on. But we can take even more things away from white supremacists like a Ben Stein by taking our black dollars out of products like a Pearl Milling Company, because even though the name has changed, the same racists are in charge. And if we really want change, we need to go out here and start spending our money with black-owned businesses like Master P. I mean, Master P, I have to respect him on his business, and I have to respect him on his mission, which is to go out here and create products for black people to make sure that black people are getting fed. And as I looked at his website, he has an entire line of products, and the only thing I wish he had was online ordering, because I would be putting in an order for some of Master P's products to put some money in a brother's hands. Because again, when I look at guys like Ben Stein, they're just old racists who are upset about the world changing, and they're upset about the world changing and black people taking power. That's what they're upset, and that's why they're holding on to their old icons like Aunt Jemima, like a security blanket, because they want to go back to the days when big fat black women took care of them instead of sisters going out here and taking care of business in the black community. That's what the white supremacists like Ben Stein want to go back to, and we have to leave people like that behind, because clowns like this, all they want to do is stay in their little smooth world where there are fat black women who want to go out here and serve them above the black community. And that's why they're missing Aunt Jemima. But I don't miss Aunt Jemima. She's an icon from an old time, and again, didn't really change much as related to the business power structure of Quaker Oats and PepsiCo, because there are still white guys still running those companies and white women running those companies. And the way we get power is by finding black-owned businesses like Uncle P or Master P's product line and giving our money to those businesses so that they can go out here and hopefully go out here and empower other black people. That image of Aunt Jemima was never us. It never was created by us. It is not an icon of us. No, we need to go out here and create our own icons and create our own brands and do business with each other. That is how we take power. And when we take power, guys like Ben Stein will be lamenting all of those icons from the past, like Uncle Ben and the Cream of Wheat Man and the other minstrels that they openly put on packages, because there won't be anybody to support those packages in the black community. And don't let anybody fool you about how the black dollar doesn't have any power, because that's why so many companies are out here been begging for our dollars. They've been begging for the black dollar ever since Hollywood started to fall in the late 60s. That's why they made all of those blaxploitation movies. That's why they started introducing black comic characters. That's why they started to appeal to black audiences, because the white audience isn't spending as much money as they said that they did. They know that the black dollar has great economic power, and because they know that the black dollar has great economic power, this is why they participate in those, again, empty symbolic gestures. But the whole way we get away from racists like Ben Stein is, again, like Mr. Superboy always says, know your history and control your dollar. And as I say, go out here and take your dollar and give it to a black-owned business and allow those black businesses to become the next icons of the 21st century. Now, if you want to pick up some of the books on the SJS Direct imprint, like the ISIS series, the E-Steam series, the John Haynes series, and the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, you can find those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them at other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. And if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.